Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Gilman. I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Administrative Services, and we want to welcome all of our viewers to a webinar on how to do business with the state of Connecticut. DAS is proud to partner with CBIA and its members to discuss the opportunities available to do business with the state of Connecticut. Today, you'll hear the term throughout the presentation around customer of choice. Because that is who we aim to be at the state of Connecticut. In short, we purchase a lot of things, a lot of stuff, a lot of products, and we understand that a large and diverse pool of bidders often leads to a better quality product in the end. And so we do everything we can to be a great partner, to be your customer of choice. In recent years, and in partnership with the state legislature, we have done a lot to make it easier for small and minority-owned businesses to do business with the state. And under the leadership of Gene Burk and his amazing team, we have been proactive in our outreach and communication with our business partners. To that end, our team will give you the details later in the presentation on an opportunity for all of you and our colleagues to participate in a survey and make your voice heard. We will take the results seriously, but we can only address your issues if we know about them. So we appreciate you taking the time to participate at the end of this program. I do want to thank our partners at CBIA again, in particular, Chris DiPentima, Joe Budd, Natasha Mitchell, and others. And I'm proud to introduce my colleague and our head of procurement services, Gene Burk. Gene, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Commissioner. I really appreciate the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Gene Burk. I am the Director of Procurement Programs and Services. I have, by way of introduction, been with the state for a little over 2 years. Most of my career has been in the private sector. My experience spans the hospitality industry with Starwood Hotels and Resorts, higher education with Stanford University, and the technology field with Symantec, now known as Gen, the parent company of NortonLifeLock. So most of my experience has been in the private sector, and part of what I'm wanting to do is help to bring a more business-friendly attitude to how we do business with other businesses in the state. Joining me today is Meg Yetishefsky, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Good afternoon. I'm Meg Yetishefsky. I am the program manager for procurement programs that are located in our procurement division, specifically the supplier diversity programs, the certification for small minority-owned businesses, and the contractor pre-qualification program. I look forward to sharing some information about both of those programs here today. So thank you, and I will turn it over to Gene to get started. Thanks.
Okay. As a housekeeping matter, we are going to be going through our presentation. It's largely in two parts. I'll be doing part of it. Meg will be doing part of it. As questions come up during the course of the presentation, please put them in the Q&A, and we will address them after we complete the presentation. Okay. And with that, we would like to start. How do we do business with the state, and how can we become your customer of choice? One of the things that the commissioner had mentioned was that we buy a lot of things. To put that in perspective, for calendar year 2023, the state of Connecticut, through the Department of Administrative Services, purchased a little over $1.1 billion in goods and services from a little over 1,000 different suppliers under about 850 different contracts. And those contracts are being renewed 80 to 120 contracts every year. So it's constant activity, and the stakes are pretty high. And we buy everything. When we talk about becoming a customer of choice, we want to talk about the 5 C's of this. And the first is competition. The next, and with competition, one of the things that is most important is, as the commissioner had said, the more people that participate in our competitive solicitations, the better it is for all of us. The more businesses that get involved, the more opportunities there are for people to succeed. As we mentioned, we buy everything from consumable supplies to capital supplies to all sorts of services, professional, technical, and operational services as well. The next thing that when we talk about all of these commodities is that these are commodities that are in consistent demand. Whether economic times are strong or lean, the kinds of goods and services that we buy provide continuity for services that we as a state provide to the residents of the state. And so it provides for you as a business an opportunity to know that there's a stable customer for you to work with going forward. The other thing that is really, really important to us is that we provide a lot of opportunity for you as customers. And when we talk about that, we want to be able to provide you with opportunities. When we use our portal to announce all of our solicitations, one of the things that we do is we also take advantage of other opportunities that are available, whether we're participating in national or regional consortia. So we make those opportunities available to you as well, so that we try to promote your interest by making you aware of opportunities for competitive solicitations that you might not find on your own. So this is ways that we're trying to reach out to provide service to you as a customer of services that we provide as well. And one of the other things that I think is most important about what we do for you is compensation. I was just attending another meeting earlier this morning where one of the things that some of the suppliers were lamenting were payment terms that they had under a lot of their contracts. And a lot of these were private sector contracts where they were being paid in 90 or 120 days. The state, by law, pays its suppliers in 45 days. One of the other things that's really important to us is that if you are a certified small business, those payment terms by statute are net 25. So that you know that we're a customer, you know where we are, and that we're good for making payment on the goods and services that we procure. And we have very, very stable payment terms that we think are going to be favorable to most suppliers. All right. So I know I've gone through a lot of things very, very quickly, and certainly there will be time for more questions. But with that, I want to then turn it over to Meg to talk about some of the very specific programs that we have in place. But I did forget one thing. The CT Source is the state's contracting portal, and this is the place where you want to go as a first stop. And among the things that you're going to do there, the first thing is this is where you register as a supplier with the state. This is no cost to you. You register, and as part of the registration, you will then receive notices of solicitation opportunities in the areas that you've identified that are of interest to you. The next thing about CT Source is this is where we actually post all of our solicitations. Not only is this where the state, through the Department of Administrative Services, posts its solicitations. This is a portal that is used to solicit business by many of the towns and municipalities throughout the state. To give you some idea, in the last year, there were over 2,000 solicitations that were posted on CT Source. Less than 10% of those were ones that were managed by the Department of Administrative Services. So there are a lot of public entities within the state that are using CT Source as the portal for their solicitations. So it's a great opportunity for everyone to find out where those public sector opportunities are. And then the third part of CT Source is this is where we post. This is where the contract board is. This is where we post all of our contracts. One of the things that that distinguishes public sector procurement from private sector procurement is that we have to be a lot more transparent. So all of our contracts are there. So you know who's responsible, who the awardees were, what the terms of those contracts were, what the pricing was associating with them, along with the expiration dates so that you can start to reasonably anticipate when a particular category of goods and services would be coming up for rebidding down the road. So, and there are user guides for all of these three areas of CT Source, and strongly encourage you to take advantage of that tool. And with that, I will turn it over to Meg to talk about some of the specific programs that we manage that are business facing within our department. Meg.
Great. Thank you, Jane. And again, I'm going to reiterate the theme of customer choice. Those business owners on the webinar today, we truly want to do business with you. We want you to look at the state of Connecticut, specifically DAS procurement, as a customer choice. Jean, you heard laid out many reasons, the 5 C's that are advantages to you as a business owner. I know Commissioner Gilman also indicated we want to be a customer choice. Well, I'm going to speak to you a little bit about some of the supplier diversity programs that we offer here at the state of Connecticut through the Department of Administrative Services to assist our small businesses in participating in that procurement process, right? You'll see on your screen a little kind of high level about our certification program, our supplier diversity program, the certification program for small minority-owned business. It's an important element to open up economic opportunities for our state, our Connecticut small businesses, right? It requires, our particular program are statutorily mandated, and it requires that 25% of all the procurable dollars that Jean is speaking about, 25% of those procurable dollars must go to certified small businesses that are located here in the state of Connecticut. 25% of that, or 6.25, must go to minority-owned businesses. So you as a business owner on this webinar, please listen and take that, because those are statutorily mandated percentages that we have, and we're passionate about making sure that all the state agencies are meeting those particular numbers. Certification is free. To be certified in the state of Connecticut small business program, it is free. I often spend many times with small businesses because they're paying for some of these services for outside entities that approach them. Please understand that the certification for state of Connecticut is free. You shouldn't be paying anyone for the certification. We're here to assist you. If you need help on our certification program, we'll be here to help you. Through webinars such as this, but more in-depth webinars, we will work with you one-on-one with business owners to get you through our certification. There's 2 types of certification for those of you that are interested in being certified as a state of Connecticut small business. There's 2 types. A small business, which means that your principal place of business must be located here in Connecticut. Again, I started off by saying it is an economic development program for our state small businesses. And then we also certify small minority-owned businesses. So the first piece is, yes, you have to be located here in Connecticut, your principal place of business. And then we're going to look at the structure of your business and look to see that the owners collectively are actively involved in that business. This is not for absentee owners. We're really looking to see that those owners are a viable part of that business. And it also is an opportunity for my office to come out to your business, learn about your business, make those business connections with your business with some of the opportunities that Jean talked about. You'll see that those numbers are vast. So there's a number of opportunities for you as a Connecticut business to participate in the procurement process. But if you choose to get certified as a Connecticut-based small business, you'll have some added advantages to that procurement process. The specific eligibility criteria is on the screen in front of you. I want you to take a moment to look at that. We talked a little bit about Connecticut-based businesses. We talked a little bit about minority-owned businesses. One of the new features of our program, and I think it's an important feature to mention, is that If you're looking to get certified as a small Connecticut-based business, we have looked to see that we are partnering with the federal government on our certification. And so the federal government does define a small business in certain industries and categories, and they have some anecdotal data that supports, the specific industries. So we are partnering with the federal government on that definition, because not only does that make sense, because different industries have different values of certification as related to their small business. But we're also looking to introduce many of our small businesses to some of the federal opportunities that are out there too, in getting our small businesses in business shape, right? So again, that's an advantage that you'll see only in Connecticut and only in our certification process. Next slide. Thanks, Shelley. The next slide talks a little bit about benefits and opportunities. I'm passionate about the benefits and opportunities of Connecticut's program. It does have many opportunities and a lot of benefits for you as a small business owner. Let me talk a little bit about benefits. Once you get certified, you'll be listed in our small business directory. I often refer this as a yellow pages, right, for our Connecticut businesses that are certified. That particular directory is a website. It's open 24 hours a day. Anybody can go to this directory and look up a company. Not only do all of our state agencies, all of our 169 municipalities, many of the quasi-state agencies, but our partners in private industries also use that directory. So I say that to you because, again, the benefits are, while we want you to be a customer choice for state of Connecticut, we also want to encourage your economic growth. So again, a number of companies use that directory. Businesses should also be registered, as Jean said, in our CT Source portal. That gives you an opportunity to see what the state of Connecticut is going out to procure for, and my office will assist you in that. Another area I wanted to touch on was, the inclusion of these two directories, the CT Source and the certification directory. Those provide many search capacities for the prime vendors, right? If any of you are in the construction fields, you know that prime and general contractors are looking for various commodities and services and their subcontracting. They'll come to that directory and use you and entertain, some opportunities for you to participate in some of their bids. The same is true for CT Source. Once you register in CT Source, that provides state agencies opportunities to look for you in that portal, if you will. We also recommend that you include your certification with any non-state solicitations. Again, we want you to be a customer choice for the state of Connecticut, but if you're participating in any other opportunities outside the state of Connecticut and you include your certification in your home state, it has added value for you as a Connecticut-based business. So I share those opportunities, benefits. The last thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was it does lead to economic growth for your company. Awarded contracts might lead to company expansion. You find new customers. The supplier diversity program also, certifies small businesses. And those, once you get certified, you have opportunities. And some of the procurement opportunities are set aside only for companies that hold that certification. So the marketing, the benefits, and the opportunities are vast. So it does take, your time, to fill out the application. Staff is here to assist you, but the benefits and the opportunities are there for you should you choose to go through that certification as a Connecticut certified small business. The next program I wanted to briefly touch on is the construction contractor pre-qualification program. The construction contractor pre-qualification program is for construction companies that are looking to bid on contracts for the state or municipality, any work that is estimated to cost more than $1 million and is funded partially or solely by the state of Connecticut. If any companies that are on the webinar today fall into that category, I would strongly encourage you to get pre-qualified. What is pre-qualification? Well, pre-qualification is an online application program. Similar to what I mentioned earlier is our certification for small minority-owned businesses online. Well, our pre-qualification program application is online as well. Again, pushing that use of technology, open 24 hours. You can come and fill out the application and come and go as you please, and your information will be saved. So pre-qualification, I mentioned it's for construction projects that are funded in whole or in part by the state of Connecticut that are over that $1 million. If we can go to the next slide, I'd just like to briefly give you kind of 10,000 feet overview of what we look at in a pre-qualification application. There's a couple categories that we look at when you're filling out a pre-qualification application. And it is what it is, right? Pre-qualification, we're pre-qualifying you. We're looking at certain areas of your company to score you and vet you so that we then can give you a pre-qualification certification that you hold for a year. That certification allows you to bid on construction projects that are over $1 million. We look at the integrity of a company. We look at the financial condition of a company. We are going to look to see that you have a safety program, and we're going to look at your work experience. We're going to ask you for certain indicators in each one of those categories. For instance, if you're sitting on the call saying, well, what are they going to look at in each one of these particular categories? Let me tell you that to evaluate integrity and work experience and financial condition, there is some documentation that you'll have to provide as part of our application process. Quickly, I'll tell you that for financial condition, we're going to look at your taxes, right? We're going to look at some of that information to see that your financial capabilities, work experience. We're going to ask you for some evaluations on some of your previous projects. Safety, we're going to look to see that you have a safety program, and that will validate that through some of the OSHA requirements. So there is some information that you'll have to give to us as part of the application, but again, staff will work with you and get you through that application process. Both of these programs are valuable to you as a Connecticut-based small business if you're looking to do business in the state of Connecticut, both as a small minority-owned business or as a small minority-owned construction company. We would strongly encourage you to participate in both of those programs. I am going to turn this over to Jean to talk a little bit about some of the exciting things we're doing with CBIA. Thanks.
Thank you, Meg. Very helpful information on those really, really important programs that we have as part of our outreach. What Meg didn't mention was also that her team is interested in doing all forms of business outreach because we want to make the entire business community as aware of all the solicitations and all the activity in which we're engaged. And to that end, one of the things that we want to do is understand how we can do what we do to reach out to you and to make these processes better. And so with through CBIA, we're really thrilled to partner with them on this. We want to ask you to help us help you. And so sometime during the middle of the month in February, we will be issuing out to you a very brief survey where we want to know just some basic things. If you are doing business with us today, how can we do it better? If you're not doing business with us today, why? And what can we do better to encourage you to do so? And then in order to do that as well, we're going to be asking you, how best should we reach out to you? What forms of communication are going to work best for you? Because this is what's really, really important to us is we're trying to do as much outreach as we can to both diversify and expand the entire supplier base, because at the end of the day, that's what makes our solicitations that much more competitive. And the more competitive our solicitations and our subsequent contracts are, the better it is for all of us, since we all live and work here in Connecticut. The second thing is that we're really looking for how best to communicate with you on an ongoing basis, because we can do the outreach to you so we know that we're reaching you. in the most effective ways possible, and that we can also get some idea of what we can do to help improve the processes that we have in place today, because we're very, very committed to streamlining our processes so that we make it easy for people to do the right thing, that they're as administratively efficient as they can be for you as well as for us, so that we can reduce the amount of time and effort between getting buyers and sellers together. That's our goal. And so it's a lot to try to accomplish in a small survey, but it's a start. It's not going to be a lengthy survey, but it will give us some sense of the things that we can do to start doing to make what we do even more responsive to your needs, so that we can, in fact, become a customer of choice by you. So that's our pitch for the survey. And like I said, the goal is to have it released mid-February, and we will let everyone know what the results of the surveys are, and we will let you know what our plans are to act on the responses that we receive. Okay.
We have one more slide, I believe.
Okay. And what we have here is Meg, do you want to go ahead and introduce this slide?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jean. So doing business with the state is our theme today. You'll see in front of you on the screen our various websites. To learn more, please visit our websites, which include links to all of our procurement programs and resources. We will post these links right now in the chat for all of you to have at your fingertips. We'll also share this presentation with CBIA so they can send it to you, and you'll have that as well. The websites offer a lot of information, details about our programs. These programs can be translated should you need to. We can walk you through that process as well. Listen, we provided a lot of information, and this was meant to be high level because we're hoping and encouraging each of you on the call and the various members of CBA to take us up on our offer to look at these websites, become a customer of choice, register with CT Source, consider being certified in your home state as a Connecticut small business. Consider getting pre-qualified should you are looking to do business at that higher thresholds of $1 million or more for our state-funded projects. All this information is included in our webinar today to, again, get you, have the roadmap to do business with the state of Connecticut. Finally, and I think most importantly, is we're asking you to help us spread the message about the available resources and the benefits of doing business with the state of Connecticut. It is truly our priority to get more businesses involved in our solicitations. We invite you to share with us your ideas, your recommendations on ways we can get the message out to the business community. Jean had mentioned that, we have an outreach team. I often say we have boots on the ground, right? We'll come out to the various community business organizations, towns, municipalities, wherever, to talk about our programs, and not only talk about them, to assist people to get registered and learn more about the procurement process at DAS. So listen, we thank you very much for joining us today. I want to open the floor for discussion, questions. We're here to answer any specific questions that you may have. Thank you. And let me see if we have questions in the chat.
I don't see any.
Usually, either put them in the chat or raise your hand. I think we can do either one, Natasha. You'll tell me. Again, I know we provided a lot of information, but I'm hopeful that if somebody has a question, we're here to answer them. I'm not seeing questions unless I'm missing it.
I don't, but I'm going to anticipate one question because I get it fairly regularly. And that is, well, one of the questions that I get pretty regularly is, what is the average length of a state contract? And um, the short answer is it varies, but the longer answer is that typically our state contracts run for about 3 years. One of the things uh, about that is where we're trying to make changes. We're trying to build 3-year contracts that allow us to be flexible in terms of what the price adjustments look like, so they can be responsive to market conditions, so that people don't feel like they're always locked into a fixed price for 3 years. The other thing is that people want to know, well, I've developed a good relationship with people in the state, or they've had their business experiences in the private sector has been that, hey, I've been doing business with someone for a long, long time and we've developed a good relationship. Why shouldn't I just be allowed to do the same thing with the state? And one of the reasons for that is, as much as we want to build really good partnerships, on the other hand, we have a responsibility to ensure that we make our opportunities available to new businesses as well as established businesses. So if we were to have contracts that were overly long, it would have a chilling effect on new businesses. So we try to balance those by having contracts that are long enough to make it worth a company's while to invest in doing business with the state, but also not long enough that we discourage new businesses from trying to do business with the state as well. Another commonly asked question that we get is, well, the contracts with the state look to be, they're so long and they have so many provisions in them. At present, that's true. And one of the reasons for that is that we're required by statute to include a lot of those provisions in our contracts. But I would encourage, in either the responses to the survey, or if you have questions because you're interested in responding to a solicitation, if you have questions about what certain terms mean, please reach out, because we want to be a good resource to you to be able to answer those questions, to let you know why certain things are included in the contracts. So just a couple of things that are commonly asked, and I just wanted to make sure that we got those out there today.
Thank you, Jean. I will read a few questions in the chat, and the first one is from Justin. Are there any resources to help companies through the bidding process? I can take that, and then I'll turn that over. But if there's resources helping companies through the bidding process, there is resources. It's not located here in procurement at DAS, because that would jeopardize the procurement process. However, there are organizations that we work with that are funded by the state of Connecticut that will assist you in putting together your bid, crossing your T's and dotting your I's, and making sure that that bid is a solid proposal. Ones that come to mind are the Small Business Development Center. We also work with Apex, which is formerly known as the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. There's also several other smaller organizations throughout the state of Connecticut that I know we refer a lot of our companies that come through certification as a small business to, but anybody can go to these organizations. Again, it's outside of our procurement, because that would jeopardize the procurement process. We couldn't help you with that process, but we can steer you into organizations that are phenomenal and will help you with that. That would be the answer to that question. There was another question. Would a subcontractor to a prime construction contractor find value in registering with the state? My answer is anybody should register with the state of Connecticut, whether you are a subcontractor, a prime contractor. We buy everything, as Jean said. We truly buy everything, and depending on the solicitation, there could be opportunities for subcontractors in that particular solicitation. When you say registering, I'm not sure if you're talking about registering in CT Source. I would encourage everybody to register in CT Source. That's our portal. That's how you find out what we are procuring for. Registering as a small minority-owned business, yes, you should absolutely do that as well. That would be my answer for that. Jean, I don't have anything to add to that.
I would. There is, if you're a subcontractor, if the size of the subcontract is $1 million or more, then yes, that subcontractor is considered, does need to be pre-qualified. For if you're a particular trade and you typically work as a subcontractor, I would also say it's really important to register on CT Source, and you might be particularly interested in our trade labor agreement, which includes a lot of the individual trades as contractors, because for construction projects of under $1 million, most of our state agencies can self-manage those projects, and many of the contractors they choose are taken from under our trade labor agreement. So I would strongly encourage people to register and take advantage of that one. That particular contract is going to be is going to hit the streets sometime in February as well. So it's a really good timing to take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. Natasha, did you want to add to that question, or should we move to the next question? I saw a note in here that you may want to add some value to that question or answer. No, maybe I read that wrong. I will go to the next question, Jean. I think this is for you. What's the difference between the contracts and bid board? Are the contracts already closed and the bid board is open?
Correct. The bid board tells you what's actively being solicited at the moment. Those are the things that are open. Those are the ones that, if you've registered and you had expressed interest in certain categories, you should have been notified that those solicitations were open for you to bid on. And then once the solicitations are closed and contracts have been awarded, then the contract board shows the results of those solicitations. So yes, that's the distinction. That which is open hasn't been awarded yet versus those that have been awarded.
Thank you. I'll give it a few more minutes. I don't see any more questions in the chat, but I want to make sure that we answer everybody's questions. I'll give it a minute or two, and then I'll turn it over to Jean. See any?
I do want to thank everyone on behalf of the Department of Administrative Services, from Commissioner Michelle Gilman, from Meg Yetishefsky, and myself, and Shelley, and all the others who contributed, as well as our partners with CBIA who contributed to this webinar. I want to thank you all for your time today, and want to reiterate that it really is our goal that the state of Connecticut can become a customer of choice for you as a business, because in line with the state's current motto, we all want to make it here. Proud to be here in Connecticut and want to be able to work with all of you. So on behalf of all of us, thank you very much. And we will be following up with you with this survey in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much.